Hey everybody, it's Andrew Martin coming to you with another video. It is Friday. Happy Friday. I just wanted to share a quick story with you. I was just talking with a client. We had a good healing session and started talking about this idea of telling a new story, and how sometimes our stories imprison us and we're not even aware of it, and how sometimes the mythology and the fairy tale that we have created around ourselves and our own lives actually ends up holding us in a place that no longer serves us or no longer works for us or isn't really where we want to be, and we're not even aware of it. And I was sharing with him this healing session I had several days ago with a client. I was doing her healing, and when we were in the session, I went to my place that I go when I connect to do the healing and bring through the energies. And her team kept showing me Cinderella, like the Disney fairy tale Cinderella, and they kept showing me Cinderella scrubbing the floors, doing her thing, and we all know the story. And I kept asking them, what is this about? Why are you showing me Cinderella for this person, and what does this have to do with her? And they said, this is about her rewriting her fairy tale, and how in the context of the story of the fairy tale, if Cinderella had not had Prince Charming and the glass slipper and all of that to come and save her from her own life, she would have spent the rest of her life, she would have died with that fucking scrub brush in her hand. I mean, think about it. Cinderella, here she was, hanging on to a life that didn't exist anymore. Both of her parents were passed. The house that she grew up in was no longer hers. It belonged to her stepmother and her, wicked stepsisters. She was a maid. She was a slave. She was not treated as an equal or even barely as a human in her own house that she grew up in. And yet, through her own sense of loyalty, or her own sense of this is all I deserve, or her own sense of this is what I have to do, or this is what I'm supposed to do, or this is, I can't do any better than this, or there's nothing else than this for me. She was basically keeping herself enslaved and keeping herself locked up. And had it not been for Prince Charming, she would have died like that. And the truth is that we don't get a Prince Charming. There is no one coming to save us from our own lives, and especially if it's a life that we have erected and constructed that doesn't serve us anymore, and that doesn't allow us to fully be the powerful, wonderful, creative, dynamic people that we are. But because we still believe our own mythology and we haven't rewritten our own fairy tale, we stay locked in this old idea and this old life that really becomes a prison. And it is about rewriting our own fairy tale. And so when I was doing the healing session and these guides showed me this woman, as Cinderella, all of a sudden they said, rewrite your own fairy tale. And this woman as Cinderella got up, looked around, lit a match, set the house on fire, flipped at the bird, and walked away with the house burning down behind her. And when I told this to my client, it really, really moved her, and it showed her, and it resonated with her. And I asked her, what does this mean for you? And she said, wow, I really am held prisoner and captive by my own limiting beliefs, by my own limiting fairy tale, by this old story that I have of who I am and my life, that somehow I can't do better, or I don't deserve better, or that I'm not powerful enough to create really what I want, or that I can't remove myself or extricate myself from situations that don't serve me anymore, or that I can't say no when I want to say no, and I can't say yes when I want to say yes, and that somehow I have to continue to please people in my life who don't necessarily have my best interests at heart. And it just struck me, and I was just talking with my friend about this, and we were sharing this story, and it just was such a powerful moment of realization that it's time to rewrite your fairy tale. It's time to retell your mythology in a way that serves who you are now. It's time to break down the walls that we have built around ourselves in terms of what we expect and what we think we deserve, or what we're worthy of, or what we can allow ourselves to have or to be. And it's time to throw all that shit away and say, you know what? I'm the one that gets to decide how my story ends, and I'm the one that gets to write my next chapter. The truth is, and when I'm doing my work with my clients, I see this all the time, is that life is not pre-written. It is not set in stone. Certainly there are key points and key moments in our lives that are destined, or things that we're supposed to experience, or people that we're supposed to meet, but those lessons can be learned in any number of ways, and those connections can be made in limitless ways. And the majority, the bulk of our lives is not a script with a beginning, a middle, and end. And I think so often we sit and we wait for someone or something to come and save us from our lives. And we end up scrubbing floors for our whole fucking life. Scrubbing floors and being a scullery maid for someone who doesn't really care about our happiness and our well-being and our joy. And yeah, it's a metaphor, and it's, perhaps it's a clunky metaphor, but it just struck me that it's time to rewrite our stories. It's time to tell a new mythology, and it's time to be the one that saves us from the life that we may not want to participate anymore, and to begin to craft something new and begin to, you know, craft an exit strategy, create a new place to go to, create something new that fills us with joy and happiness and makes us feel free and alive, as opposed to continuing to submit ourselves to this slavery that we so often do, because we're not even aware of what we have agreed to do, and we're not even thinking clearly about really what our life is and what we're doing. So I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that it strikes a chord with you and that resonates with you in some way. And I hope that it empowers you to begin to make the choices based around whatever it is that you want to change, and to know that you really can tell a new story and write a new fairy tale. So that's it. I hope you're having a good Friday, and I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and don't be anybody's fucking Cinderella. That's it. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.